Nutriventia, we started around 6 years ago, and the entire purpose of Nutriventia was completely to make the ingredient the centerpiece. Because we strongly believe that nature has a lot of potential, and as an organization, we strongly believe in standardization as well as delivering the ingredient in the purest form possible. Typically, what any of the branded ingredients that we work on, we follow the same standards which we use in pharmaceuticals, whether it's testing it with HPLCs, going and quantifying the actives, making sure that each and every batch, the same amount of active is present. And that's something which we really focus on. So even for our raw material supplies which we get, we have teams which will go actively look around, figure out which area gives you the best crop, what is the active content coming out of it, and that becomes I think that's the first part for us. And what we do as an organization is we rely on the United States Pharmacopeia, that is USP, because that's standard. Whether I test it, you test it, or any third party tests it, it's actually getting tested to a recognized standard, and that is very important to us. So standardization is very important. Typically then what we would do is, once we have standardized it and we have secured the supply chain, we now want to actually make it so that it is beneficial to the consumers. And as an organization, since we came out from a pharmaceutical company, we follow the same standards. And that's something which I really want to elaborate on. Because for us, the work starts with cell line studies to begin with, to kind of make sure that the active which we have standardized is actually going and giving those beneficial effects. If you look at the entire process, either it starts from cell line to animal models to pharmacokinetic studies all the way to clinical efficacy studies. And that is the scientific rigor which each branded ingredients, at least from Nutriventia, goes through. And that is something which we feel very strongly that needs to be communicated to the end consumers. Because unfortunately, there is a little bit of a misconception that, dietary ingredients are not regulated, or, they don't have the same formula as pharmaceutical drugs. But having worked in both these areas, it is there. So if you actually choose the right ingredient, the right supplier, all of them would typically go through this, because all the products, even the pharmacokinetic studies or the clinical efficacy studies which we do, they are basically, all the studies get published in peer-reviewed journals. We need to start better educating to our consumers. And that's the advantage, because if marketing companies can start putting our branded ingredients on their pack as well as on all their marketing material, we can really change the narrative. I would say validation which we put in towards our dietary ingredients is very similar to pharmaceutical drugs. So I think that is something which needs to be told. We need to amplify that voice as an industry. If any of our marketing companies can start co-branding and start putting our branded ingredients onto the bottle, the advantage you get is that our entire clinical package can be made available to the consumers. Because to reach the consumers, ingredient manufacturers, we can always try. But we don't have that reach as a marketing company would. And that's where we would love to kind of give all our science out there. So at the end of the day, the consumer has to be better informed, which has always been our endeavor. Even the Spins research recently pointed out that consumers have actively started looking for branded ingredients now. So even as marketing companies, it's definitely a movement in the right direction, because you can now start leveraging all that we offer and make it available to the consumers.